of his trousers. He's attacking a superior officer. Bellows jumped onto the table. Get him away. He's in on it. Actually, sir, Jack smiled. He just likes the smell of your stomach acid pills. Admiral Holloway, who had been watching the entire circus from the back, stood up. I've seen enough. This base is a madhouse. Sterling, you're a menace. Bellows, you're a lunatic. And Pringle, somehow, you're the most competent person in the room, and you can't even walk in a straight line. Holloway sighed, looking at the snap lizard, which was now peacefully chewing on Bellows' medals. Keep the money. Fix the waste disposal. And for the love of the stars, someone get me a drink that wasn't made in a ventilation shaft. As the Admiral's shuttle departed, Jax, Pip, and the crew stood on the observation deck. We did it, Skip, Pip said, clutching a peanut butter sandwich he'd shared with Barnaby. We're still in the Navy. Of course we are, Pip, Jax said, watching Bellows in the distance, screaming at a docking bay door. In this galaxy, the only thing faster than light is a good grift. From the distance, they heard a familiar cry echoing through the metallic corridors. McHale, Sterling, I'll get you for this. My eyebrows, they're still singed. Jax just smiled and adjusted his cap. Wowie wow wow, Pip. Wowie wow wow. Epilogue, The Martini on the Moon. A month later, a postcard arrived from a luxury resort on the moons of Jupiter. It featured a picture of a man who looked remarkably like Bellows, sitting in a hover chair with a martini. Dear Acting Commander Sterling, it read, having a wonderful time. My stomach acid has finally settled. Thanks for the accidental transfer to the Orion cluster. P.S. Please excuse the ink blots. My martini spilled when a snap lizard stole my olives. Jax tossed the card into the incinerator. Until he sees the bill, Pip added. Until he sees the bill, Jax agreed. The Scoundrels of Blue Lagoon, a novel of nautical nonsense and high-stakes hilarity. Chapter 1. The Governor's Ulcer. In the remote, sun-drenched sector of the Asia Archipelago, a terraformed planet colony known as Aquatica Governor Silas Vane, a man whose blood pressure was roughly the same as a steam engine about to explode, paced his office. The office, decorated with medals he hadn't earned and portraits of people who didn't like him, overlooked the bustling and technically illegal marketplace of Port Serenity. Ceremonial silk sashes! Vane screamed, his voice cracking like dry parchment. You are the logistics director here. Pringle, if the holographic dance troupe needs ceremonial sashes to greet the fleet, you snap to it. You shake a cyber leg. Do you realize the gravity of the situation? Lieutenant Barnaby Pringle, a man whose uniform always looked like it had been slept in by a very large and restless dog, blinked behind his thick spectacles. Sir, the supply ship was diverted to the outer rim. Apparently, there is a shortage of, well, everything. Vane clutched his stomach. What a war. Everything is on my shoulders. I am a titan of administration, surrounded by pygmies. And now this. He brandished a holographic message. High Commissioner Iron Joe Kincaid is arriving today for a sneak inspection. A man who eats logistics officers for breakfast and spits out court-martials. Vane turned to the window, watching a sleek, rust bucket of a patrol boat, the Misty Rove, drift lazily into the harbor. On its deck, Captain Jack Sterling was currently using a high-powered laser turret to grill a giant sea bass while his crew played a game of gator polo in the water. Look at them, Vane hissed. Sterling and his band of aquatic brigands. They'll be the death of me. This base is a shambles. The sanitation filters in the officers' lounge are backing up. The black market is the only functioning economy, and I have a commissioner coming who measures success by the shine on a brass button. Suddenly, Vane's face went pale. He clutched his midsection. My stomach acid could power a starship, Pringle. The pills. Give me the pills. Sir, the doctor said, those indigestion tablets give you hallucinations if you take too many, Pringle cautioned. I don't care, Vane roared, then paused. A devious, greasy light flickered in his eyes. Wait, if I was sick genuinely, medically incapacitated, I couldn't be held responsible for the state of the base, could I? I could appoint an acting governor, someone to stand in the line of fire when Kincaid arrives. Pringle's eyes widened. Not me, sir. Please, not me. No, you ninny. Sterling. If I put Jack Sterling in charge of Port Serenity, he and his cutthroats will run wild. They'll turn the inspection into a riot, right in front of the commissioner's eyes. Sterling will be disgraced, the crew will be sent to the spice mines, and I'll be recovering in a luxury medical suite, safely removed from the carnage. It's brilliant, Pringle called the medics. I feel a total collapse coming on. Chapter 2. The happiest illness in history. Captain Jack Sterling entered the infirmary, with the swagger of a man who owned the ocean and was currently renting out the waves. He found Governor Vane draped across a bed, looking like a discarded laundry bag. Governor, I heard the news. Something about a catastrophic failure of the spleen? Jax asked, trying to hide the smirk that threatened to break across his face. Oh, Sterling. It's the end, Vane groaned, dramatically flopping his hand. The medics don't know what it is. Could be space plague. Could be sheer exhaustion from brilliance. I have to appoint an acting governor. I was going to appoint Lieutenant Pringle, but he's a boob. Yes, sir, Pringle whispered from the corner. Complete boob. So Sterling, I'm appointing you. You're in charge of the whole archipelago. And Pringle here, he'll be your executive officer. You're moving into my office this minute. That's an order. Jack Sterling looked at Pringle. Pringle looked at Jax. A silent communication passed between them, a mixture of, "This is a trap and think of the parties we can throw." "Well, sir," Jack said, standing tall. "If it's for the good of the Union, I'll take the burden. Rest easy, Silas. I'll run this base my way." As soon as Jax and Pringle left, Vane sat up, a predatory grin on his face. "This is going to be the happiest illness of my life, Pringle. Watch them destroy themselves." Back at the governor's office, the transition was immediate. Jack Sterling sat behind the massive mahogany desk, his boots up on the polished surface. The phones were already ringing. "Director?" "Yes, the sashes have arrived," Jack said into one line. "Also, I'm authorizing a 48-hour liberty for all personnel, and tell the mess hall to start serving the good stuff, no more synthetic kelp. We're throwing a gala." Pringle was frantically answering another phone. "Hello? Yes, Executive Officer Pringle here." "What? The artillery range is being used for what? A surfboard competition? I'll check with the captain." "Skip, the boys want to throw a shindig in the main hangar. Full speed ahead, Barnaby," Jax laughed. To the moon. Chapter 3. The Archduke and the Hula Scandal. While Vane watched through a hidden camera from his hospital bed, expecting a disaster, he was horrified to see that the base wasn't falling apart. It was becoming a paradise. However, a new complication arrived. The Archduke of Marani, a neighboring planetary monarch, was seeking refuge because his own palace was being threatened by rebels. Jack Sterling welcomed the Archduke and his 3 stunning daughters with open arms. "Your Highness," Jax bowed. "Welcome to the most relaxed base in the Oceanic Union. My crew is at your disposal." The Archduke, a man of immense dignity and even more immense luggage, looked skeptical. "Commander, I carry with me the sacred treasures of my people. Are your men trustworthy?" "To a fault, sir." Jax lied smoothly. One of the crew members, a lovable rogue named Gully, the team's resident hustler, stepped forward. Wow. "Are those real jewels, Your Highness? Could they be used as ceremonial greetings?" "Gully." The Archduke's daughters, bored with royal life, were fascinated by the crew's relaxed attitude. The youngest, Princess Serafina, took a particular liking to Lieutenant Pringle, mostly because he looked like a confused puppy. "Father," she said, "I wish to see the ocean on one of these patrol boats." Jax, ever the opportunist, handed the wheel of the Misty Rover to the Archduke. "Why don't you take her for a spin, sir? It's quite relaxing." Meanwhile, Governor Vane, hearing of the royal visit, decided it was time to spring his trap.